Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tier List Tuesdays on a Wednesday. We tried. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. But today we are continuing the trend of phase of the MCU movies with Phase 3. I'm your host, John. Nice to see you guys again. Love to see the chat popping. Well, not really popping, but Caleb and Tony are in the chat, so lovely to see you both. We already got some votes in. The vote for the tier list is in the live chat, so go click on that. Vote for your favorite and least favorite MCU Phase 3 films. We will be getting into this, and we also have Dan here. Dan, how are you doing on this lovely Tuesday into Wednesday now?
It's usually Tuesdays are long ones, and I'm excited to talk about Phase 3 of the MCU. There's a lot of stuff in Phase 3. Phase 3 is looked at by a lot of Marvel fans as probably the peak of the MCU. That's when we got Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, we got our first Tom Holland solo Spidey movie with Homecoming, as well as Captain America Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So, yeah, there's a lot to get into. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Let's get rid of that fucking music. Okay. But before we get into that, Dan, you know what we got to do? We got to, get into last week's, which you were not here for, but that's okay. This was what Liz and I settled on for Tier List Tuesday. So we had Captain America: The Winter Soldier in S tier. And most people voted S tier. 4 people voted S tier. 2 people voted A tier. And then maybe to the contrary, I don't know, but me and Liz voted S tier because Avengers: Age of Ultron, heavily underrated and one of the best, my favorite Avengers movie of all time. Peeking into what I think of Infinity War and Endgame, but we'll get into that soon. 2
Uh-oh.
people S tier, most people in A tier. Guardians, 5 in S, 1 in A. We already covered this with James Gunn movies a couple weeks ago, and we're going to obviously be covering another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so we're going to be talking about that. But we also voted S tier, one of the best of Phase 2. Then we get to Iron Man 3. This is the big one that Liz and I disagreed on. I wanted to put it in A tier. She wanted to put it in C tier. So we settled on B tier. I think this is a heavily underrated MCU movie, and it's truly one of the best. Looking back, it's not as good as Iron Man 1, but it's a hell of a lot better than Iron Man 2. And so, I think it did a lot right. It did a lot of great things with the character. So I voted B. Most people voted B, but you had the one person, Liz, who voted C. And then now we get into C tier. Even though Ant-Man was a huge hit for the time, because I think most people were disappointed with Age of Ultron. So everyone was like shocked. Oh my God, Ant-Man, the movie that came out of nowhere and everybody loved. And then it kind of petered out with its, rather lesser sequels, but still some people voted B and some people voted C. And then Thor: The Dark World, which is considered probably the weakest out of Phase 2. Most people voted C tier. It's not a bad movie, I don't think. It's just kind of mid. For
Hey,
me, it would
Marco.
be on the cusp of like B and C tier. Like it's like if there was a C plus, that's where I would put it because I don't hate it. It's just kind of mid. Um, but it, but some people voted B and most people voted C. The most votes, S, Guardians and Captain America. A, Avengers. B is Iron Man 3 and Ant-Man. And then C is Thor: The Dark World. And the same thing for average vote. So, that is what we have of last week. Do you agree with this, Dan? What would you do personally? Just like a quick shooting off of what you would do differently.
So, okay, I'm surprised that none of these movies made it into A tier. For me, I would agree that the first, well, Avengers. No, okay, hold on. I think I would agree that the first Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America: The Winter Soldier are both S tier because they are 2 of the best Marvel movies ever. Uh, Certainly 2 of the best MCU movies. Iron Man 3, you know what? B tier is fine. The first Ant Man for me might be A tier. Age of Ultron has gotten better to me as time has gone on. Like, I used to think it was not as good, but I would probably put it in B tier. Um, and the Dark World, C tier might be okay. I might raise it to B tier. So I don't know. I might have like one more movie in A tier than you guys, but
Yeah.
um, Age of Ultron, I think probably maybe A tier, maybe B tier. That's what I was thinking. So yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, the reason we got to this place was because of, you guys, of course. Phase three dominating. You wanted to see what we thought of the biggest
It's the threequel,
phase,
baby. You got to do
um,
complete the trilogy at
the
least.
biggest phase out of people. Also, hello, Marco. He is in the chat, and Dark Elite Eric is giving us a tomato. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Dan, are you on Letterboxd? And Jose, since I refuse to give it out, would you?
No, I'm not on Letterbox, but I am looking to get on there. So when I am on there, you will see my account info. So Jose, I'll let you know. But as of right now, I'm not. Winter Soldier for me, by the way, is one of my, I think probably my top three,
It's
top
top
five MCU
five.
movie. Yeah,
Top five
easily.
for me.
All right.
But yeah, so obviously you guys wanted phase three. However, Batman actors, Bridesmaid, Never the Bride. It's gonna be on next week for Tier List Tuesday. We will try to get out a poll quicker
Yeah,
this
because I mean, the
time.
poll we're looking at right now is how we got to this show because we put up the poll in the YouTube community channel, well, YouTube channel
Yep.
community section. You guys got a chance to vote on it. You guys chose MCU Phase Three by a mile, it looks like, and yeah, it looks like what was it? Batman actors came in second, so
Yep.
returning again in the next poll. We will need a few more ideas though. Hey, Dark Elite,
Yeah.
Eric. So yeah, you can let us know what you'd like for us to do on a tier list Tuesday for next week. But before we skip ahead, John, we have to do tier list Tuesday tonight with Phase
Yes.
Three of the MCU, the peak for many people, the peak of their prime, where
Yes.
Marvel was at its best with 10 movies in total. We
Although
can go through
11,
them.
according to Wikipedia,
I
because
do. Look, you know what though, John? This is literally from
here's
Marvel
the thing.
themselves.
This is from Marvel
I
themselves, and I agree with it. 110, nice round number. I love me and my round numbers. 10, perfect, nice round number. And Avengers Endgame, it makes sense. It's the end. It was the end of an era. However, because the thing is, since it came out the same year as Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame, Far From Home is considered, at least by Wikipedia standards, that also. But I view that as more Phase Four than
Yeah,
anything.
I think Marvel always looked at it as more of an epilogue. Like that's literally what they said. Like it's an epilogue, and then technically it's the beginning of Phase Four. But like also we knew Phase Four was such a mess that, quite frankly, I don't even know if it's worth tracking. And Phase Four also. Then you get into all the Disney Plus TV shows. But according to Marvel
Not the
themselves,
majority, obviously.
officially, there's only 10 movies. It starts with Captain America: Civil War, where they fracture the Avengers, and then in Avengers Endgame, where they come back together to save the world one more time. Um, MTG saying keep the James Bond. All right, so we're gonna keep James Bond, Batman actors. Probably gonna have more MCU Phase Four in there, or maybe we'll give it a break. Maybe we'll break for MCU Phase 4 and then come back to it later. But we'll see. That's for next week. But tonight, 10 options, John. I'm going to quickly run through these and then we're going to start tier listing them. So, as I
Yes.
mentioned just a moment ago, Captain America Civil War kicks off officially Phase 3. If you guys remember, the big news surrounding this movie was, I mean, it was the same year. It came out the same year as Batman v Superman. When Marvel announced it was going to be Captain America Civil War,
Actually, I totally
everybody was
recall, by the
wondering,
way.
well, which version are we doing? And then the big story, like you were hinting at, John, they got the Sony deal done in time to get Tom Holland's Spider-Man into the movie. That was a big part of it, of course. And then you have all these other characters on both sides of the battlefield. The first time you really see like Ant-Man coming together with the Avengers and a few like the Vision acting on the side of Iron Man. Then we get to Doctor Strange, an origin story, one of the few origin stories in Phase 3. Pretty, late introduction, relatively speaking. But it was a fun movie. The first one was really Chiwetel Ejiofor. I hope his character Mordo eventually comes back. MTG's like, give it a little break. We'll get back to MCU Phase 4 in a couple of weeks. That sounds good, MTG. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, of course, John. I think for you, this is your favorite Guardians movie. For me, it
It's my
has probably the
favorite
best
MCU
moment
movie.
in the Guardians trilogy because I look at it the whole like, oh, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. He may have been your father, but he sure ain't your daddy. I was like, oh, bawling, bawling. Michael Rooker, Yondu, bawling my eyes out. And then I was watching the Ravager funeral scene that ends the movie towards the end, and literally without watching the rest of the movie, I had tears coming out of my eyes because I was watching them do the whole, and then Sylvester Stallone and why am I forgetting her name? She was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Michelle Yeoh. They had Wing Rames. Like dude, James Gunn
They had Michael
brought the
Rosenbaum in there too.
yes, they did. God, it was so good. So Marco's like face for all Z list. Yeah, you know what? That's why we'll give it a bit of a break. Um, I subbed because John gave Guardians of the Galaxy 2's
You
props.
just subbed now?
No, that's
Crazy.
wait. Did you just sub now, Jose? That is insane. All right. Anyway, moving on. Okay, Spider-Man: Homecoming. After being introduced in Civil War, Tom Holland got to get his own solo movie. It made like $800 million. It was, I mean, goes to show you that just how popular a character Spider-Man is. Then we get to Thor Ragnarok, widely regarded as probably the best Thor movie that we have seen in the MCU. I certainly think it is the best Thor movie. And you get the Hulk in there, of course. I forget what's the name of Tessa Thompson's character again? Valkyrie. Okay, and then of course Loki. This movie I think was a perfect blend of comedy and action before Taika Waititi completely upended that balance in the next one. Black Panther, of course. I think for me this is also a top 5 MCU movie. Chadwick Boseman, before his unfortunate passing,
Oh, okay.
he
Gotcha. Okay.
okay,
Hell yeah.
perfect.
Boom.
Uh, Steven is having a
Guardians
roast beef
2, man.
sandwich. That's
Voted.
awesome, man. Thank you for joining in, Steven. We saw you on the live show earlier. I'm not eating anything right now, but I was snacking earlier. John was
I was
snacking.
eating pizza before.
But yeah, as we were talking through all the movies that we're going to be ranking today, Black Panther, I think, still to this day might have the best soundtrack in the MCU, and certainly one of the most poignant stories. Also, Killmonger, one of the most well-rounded villains. I think we'll probably debate that in a minute, but then we keep going. After we get a Black Panther solo movie, we get introduced to Wakanda. Then Wakanda plays a big role in Avengers: Infinity War, where the fractured group of Avengers, literally scattered across the universe and all over the planet, come together to fight Thanos, ultimately falling short. And then we
Let's
get,
fucking go, Bane.
you know what,
Let's fucking
Bane.
go.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Don't you worry. But Ant-Man and the Wasp is the movie that kind of feels almost like it's like a Monster of the Week episode in between, like a mid-season finale and a season finale episode of a TV show, because it sort of takes place right before the events of Infinity War, and it kind of catches up to it in a post-credit scene, but the story isn't all that connected. So, but we do get the Wasp suit. But remember, the Wasp was originally meant to be one of the 6 OG Avengers before Joss Whedon was told like he couldn't really do that, so he then brought in Black Widow, and then eventually we get to the actual
Well,
Wasp
yeah, because
of the MCU.
Ant-Man was supposed to be where Iron Man 2 was. Edgar
Yeah,
Wright was supposed to direct that movie,
right.
but I think his friend passed away, so he was grieving and he wasn't able to do it. And I
Rightfully
think
so. Yeah.
he was also doing another film at the time, I think. So I think he might have been doing also Scott Pilgrim at the time. So I think he just couldn't do it and he was grieving, so he didn't want to focus on Ant-Man at that very moment. So it was delayed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, what could have been, right? It could have been a very different MCU, but Ant-Man and the Wasp ended up being basically the interlude between Infinity War, and then we get Captain Marvel as the prelude to Endgame, and clearly at the end of Infinity War, that post-credit scene hinted at the idea: watch Captain Marvel; she's gonna play a huge role in Endgame. And I guess technically they weren't entirely wrong, but I think people's expectations were that Captain Marvel was gonna be like a huge deal. Where in fact, when we get to Endgame, she's there in the beginning, she comes back in the end, and she plays a role, but certainly not as big of a role as people were anticipating or were led to believe. But Captain Marvel was $1 billion movie, as was Avengers Endgame, and still is now the second highest grossing movie of all time. Not just a $1 billion movie; it's a almost $3 billion movie. The finale to phase 3, and what MTG and many of people are saying, don't grade on a curve. Phase 3 is peak. Yeah, phase 3 for a lot of people is is literally the height of the MCU, and since then it's kind of been all downhill. So you know what? We're gonna talk about it, and MTG. That's good advice. We're gonna give them their due, but not just against each other. I hear you. I hear you. So with that in mind, John, let's switch over. Let's get into the tier list, shall we? We have 10 picks. So we're gonna debate this out. If we really disagree on it, like I think, like we usually do, we one veto a piece. But rather than playing the comparison game, let's look at each movie and give it its due, like MTG was saying. So I'll let you take over, John. Let's start it up. The first one being, of course, Captain America: Civil War, the third movie in Captain America's own trilogy.
um, yeah, I'm just gonna warn you guys. Nobody's gonna agree with any of my choices for Phase 3. Everyone is going to disagree with me on pretty much every decision I make. Just fair warning with that, because I don't like Phase 3. I think Phase 1 and 2 are like peak Marvel, and then Phase 3 shit the bed, and it has not, it hasn't been at the peak since. For me, I think Captain America Civil War, I went in, I was curious about it. I heard that the comic book storyline kind of sucks. Um, and this is technically better, although that's not saying much. I felt that it was very convoluted, very all over the place. The action was even worse than Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier, but the action in that movie was terribly shot, and they pretty much doubled down on the horrendous choreography and shaky cam in this movie as well. The airport scene is like okay, but it's not like this greatest amazing thing ever. Um, but I think that this is not a horrible movie, but it's not good. But I think they do a lot of stupid things with this movie. A lot of kind of, I wouldn't say plot holes, just a lot of missing kind of things in
Good
this
thing
movie.
Tony went to bed.
I just don't think this is that good of a movie. I think this is a major step down. You know what this should have been? This should not have been Captain America 3. This should have been its own thing. This should have been like an intermediary between,
I mean, a lot of people
like,
thought that this was Avengers, basically Avengers 2.5.
that's essentially what it was. It should have been
Yeah.
its own movie. Have Captain America 3
Hey,
actually be
Filmology.
about the Mad Bomb,
Filmology.
which is what they
Hmm.
wanted to do. And
You agree?
with that,
Yeah, there you go.
I just think it just didn't work for me. I just didn't really care for it. Like, the acting is fine. It just looks so bland, gray. I didn't really like Tom Holland's Spider-Man portrayed here. And I felt like a lot of it was just so convoluted. You had Civil War, you had Zemo, you had this, you had the Bucky, and it was just
I will
too
say,
much. I just
look, here's the thing. I watched this movie the first time. I did not have a very good impression of it. Every time I've watched this since, I've appreciated more the pacing of the movie, how it very adeptly handles a lot of moving pieces, and yet keeps the center focus on a philosophical argument. Really that breaks apart the Avengers between Cap and Iron Man. Really, so. And this being Captain America's movie, however, I think it's interesting though. Like you said, they could have made this an Avengers movie because it certainly felt like it. Why call it Captain America Civil War? Because then it sort of implies that Iron Man is sort of the villain of the movie, kind of like Batman v Superman. But even then, in that case, they had Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. They both came out the same year. And Batman ends up being essentially the bad guy until the end. It's a little reverted in this movie in terms of how that works out, but or actually, I guess that depends on your perspective. Yeah. Uh, for me, John, if I were to rank this, Captain America: Civil War for me is gotta be like an A, maybe a
okay.
B. I'm sort of somewhere between A and B. I don't know where you would put it.
Now, I'd put it in C tier. I think
Good
this.
point. Captain America: Civil War does also introduce Black Panther.
I don't
I
think it should have
forgot.
been Captain America 3. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's just really hard.
Martha.
I think, and you can
Why do
tell
you
that
say
the
that
only
name?
reason they did it was because Batman versus Superman was announced. Like, you could tell, like, oh, they're doing Batman versus Superman. Well, we got
Remember,
to
and
do
then
our own.
they delayed it by a year
Yeah.
because Zack Snyder was like, I need more time to make this work. That
Um.
allowed Marvel to catch up, essentially. I think
Yeah.
you like that.
And I mean, fucking Marvel, like, oh, we're doing New Gods. Oh, we're doing Eternals, and it's like, oh, we're doing Suicide Squad. Oh, we're doing Thunderbolts. It's like, okay, all right, sure.
Although there was a few years gap between Thunderbolts and Suicide Squad, though. To be fair.
To be fair, yes.
To be fair.
You know, I just personally I put it in C tier. Like, it's
We've started
not
terribly, guys.
it's not as bad as some other movies. It's just like I really
Ay,
just
ay,
do
ay.
not care for it. I'd be for a middle of the road, I'd put it in B, but I'm just saying I put like personally I'd put it in C. Like,
Okay, so what are the names of Tony Stark? You know what? You know what? I was gonna ask you the question. What
I mean,
is
here's the
it?
thing. Okay, I'm just gonna fucking say this right now. I'm gonna say this. They did the exact same fucking thing in this movie, and nobody complained about it. Yet the Martha thing was the thing that everybody shit on. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, it was a terrible scene. But the thing is, they literally do the same thing here, and nobody fucking shit on it.
Wait,
It was like,
wait.
"He killed my
Describe to me though.
mom," because it was
Yes,
like the whole
he
thing
killed
was
my mom. Yeah, that's
he
true.
killed
Yes.
he killed my mom. It all comes down to mommy issues. Just god damn, bro, go to therapy. Fuck, god damn. He killed my mommy. How about fucking grow a pair?
Okay, I think I lean more between the A and B, and if you're leaning at C though, what are we talking about? We're putting this in
I
B.
would say
We're
put it in the middle with B. Sorry,
okay.
I'm not.
All good. We're gonna put Captain America: Civil War in B, which I think is a fair grade. It might be a little harsh for some people, but like I think that's fair between the two of us, opinion wise. Not a bad place to start. Not a bad place to start
I
at all.
agree.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta do something real quick. I gotta blow my nose. Hang on.
But in the meantime, we are moving on to Doctor Strange. By the way, guys, actually, before we even get that far, if you have already done so, then great. But if you haven't, if you're watching live in the live chat, we have pinned at the very top the link to the tier list. You can go and vote for your very own version of this, and then we're gonna go through all of your votes later on once we have gone through our tier list. So we're doing this live. That tier list does stay up for a week, like we went through last week's results at the start of the show. So you can go and click on that link in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, you can go to the live chat replay and vote for your own tier version of this tier list. So
Yes.
with that in mind,
I've already done so.
There you go. John will talk about his personal one, and we're doing our joint one right now. So, all right, John, fan service, call it what you want. You know, not good, great, amazing. We gave it a B. Captain America: Civil War. Now we get into Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
This is, I mean, I was saying earlier, this was like maybe one of the few origin stories in phase 3, but really, I mean, I guess the other one is Captain Marvel. So but yeah, it kind of late in the game, right? Because we're at that point, people were like, oh, okay, Infinity War is coming. Nick, Thanos is like, I'm gonna do it myself, kind of thing. So at that point, you introduced Doctor Strange. He was hinted at already in Captain America: Winter Soldier when one of those Hydra agents is hanging off the roof in that interrogation scene. So we knew Doctor Strange was coming. Then we got Benedict Cumberbatch in the role. So
although he was named, the first time,
yeah,
real Marvel fans will know the first time he was name dropped was Spider-Man 2.
you're not
Doctor Strange.
You're not wrong.
Hey, that's pretty good, but it's taken.
Yeah. You're not wrong. But in terms of the MCU continuity, right? Like we saw him hinted at, Strange, or like it was the Hydra situation in the Winter Soldier.
He was a threat even before, he got his powers, so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I guess Baron Zemo knew a thing or two about predicting the future. So, Doctor Strange, how do you rate it, the very first one?
I really enjoyed this movie. I think Scott Derrickson is a really good director. I think now he's he was kind of hit and miss before this movie, but I think this helped him really get his stride because he's just been making banger after banger, like Black Phone, The Gorge. Black Phone 2 looks great.
The Gorge is good.
This was one of the few movies in late Marvel that showed that, like, hey, we can still do good effects. Like, because the surrealness, the etherealness of it all, very well done. Dormammu looked great. This, I think Benedict Cumberbatch was, he's supposed to be a dickhead. Tony Stark is supposed to be a dickhead. Like, that's like the whole thing. Like, come on. Um, so I just
I mean, people compared it. Like, it's like
yeah,
basically
I mean,
another
people
time.
said
Yeah.
essentially that this was Iron Man meeting Green Lantern if Green Lantern was a good movie. Like I remember somebody
Hmm.
did like a side by side comparison between Doctor Strange and Green Lantern, and they're like Doctor Strange is essentially the good version of Green Lantern. But I liked it when it first came out, but now I've come to appreciate it more and more. I liked Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange. I really liked the world that this. I really liked the magic side and all this other stuff because like Scarlet Witch, you kind of saw a bit of magic there, but like not a ton. This really introduced that side. I think Scott Derrickson did a really good job. I know that the controversy with the Ancient One, I get it, but I understand it. But I get Scott Derrickson's reasoning as to why he picked Tilda Swinton for the role. So, um, I think Doctor Strange, it's not the best, but it's definitely one of the better Phase 3 movies. And with that, I'd probably put it in A tier. I think it's genuinely a great movie. It has its problems. It's not the greatest thing ever, but I do genuinely believe it's a pretty great movie. Um, but yeah, no, that's fair. You have your opinion. That's why we have the tier list. So then you put in your own opinion. But I think
Yeah,
it's
you
A
can vote
tier
for it.
personally. Personally,
Um, I pr- I have a hard time putting it above B, but um, I don't know if we can. There's no way for us to hang between A and B. So unless do you want to use your I don't know. Hmm. I guess like I think it's a good movie. I think you've seen it more times than I have, so maybe
I,
you have a
can I
better
recommend
appreciation for it.
something? Since everything else for me, except for one movie, which we'll get into next, pretty much everything else is like lower than everybody else. Can you just grant me this one positive
That's
thing that we're not gonna
I'm I'm
agree
I'm
on?
okay with I'm okay with that. I'm
Because
okay with that.
everything else, I'm gonna heighten my own level of dissatisfaction because I feel bad because I'm sorry, I just don't like Phase 3 very much. So this is like one of the few positive things I had. So I'm like, grant me A,
It's all good.
please. All
I'm
right,
okay with
cool.
that idea.
But yeah, I really liked Doctor Strange. I thought that was really great. I was like, oh, that was pretty good, but then the more I thought about it, the more I appreciated it.
No,
I mean,
I think it's
it's
underrated. It's also
Clea
functionally
was
really good.
in Multiverse of Madness, so like she
Mm-hmm.
is like the niece of Dormammu, I think.
Dormammu,
So
yeah. So we might get Dormammu again. He's
could
sort
be.
of like locked up in a time loop. The last we saw him at the end of that movie, Doctor
Yeah, I
Strange,
think
right?
so.
So
I think that's what it was.
yeah, yeah. Except faux Black Panther, right, John? I don't know what you're hinting at, Jose. uh, oh, MTG's coming after.
Okay, I'm
People are
just gonna
getting
say this.
ready with the
Well, no, okay. Here's
pitchforks,
the thing. Here's the thing.
dude.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
put like Black Panther in D tier. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you that night right now. It's not in like D. There's only one movie I put in D tier, and it's not the one you expect. But it's not Black Panther either. So just
All right.
keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, here we go, John. This is all you because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I think for me
We've already
personally,
talked about it because we talked about it for
it's
James Gunn. I adore
it's
this movie.
Volume 2 for me is not the best of the trilogy. I think is the second best. Like I think for me the first one is the best, this is the second best, the third one is the third best. But like I said, it has some of the best moments of any Guardians movie, and some of the best
This is
moments
more
across the
character
MCU.
driven. I really like the character driven. I
Yes.
love the look, cinematography, the effects, all of it.
Yeah.
It felt James Gunn learned everything from the first one and just made it all better.
The visuals are better. Like it's
Yeah.
visually more colorful.
I will say
Um,
maybe some of the humor is like not as good as the first one, but there's some
mhm.
crunchy stuff in the first one too. So
I mean,
I'm not gonna
also you got Kurt
it's
Russell and David Hasselhoff in this movie, and yet somehow, by the end of the movie, you're like Michael Rooker's Yondu is clearly cooler than both of those guys. I don't think
saying
20
and on
years
top of
ago.
that saying he's Mary Poppins, that's also
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. God, it just
great stuff.
there's some really the whole third act for this movie redeems the entire second act for this movie because
I would say
for me
more
the second
daddy
act,
issues. I would say more daddy
yeah,
issues than mommy issues, but that's
yeah,
just
not
well, I
really
mean,
mom issues,
a little
yeah.
bit of both, but mainly daddy
Uh,
issues.
Yeah, but like the movie's more about daddy issues than mommy
Yeah,
issues because mommy
yeah.
issues were more part of the first movie, I think.
And
Just
I agree with that. I'd put it in
it's
S
just,
tier,
yeah.
but I'd be willing to put it in A tier if you don't love it as much as I do.
You know, I don't know if it's S tier again. We're not doing the whole comparison thing. We're judging them on their own merits. I think when you compare the okay, I just said I'm not gonna contradict myself. Uh, okay, I'm willing to let S tier work. I was probably gonna lean more towards A tier, but I think S tier is okay.
Okay.
It's I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to pick one, I'm okay with that one. I'm gonna save my veto for the next few because I know things are about to get rough. Things are about to get rough. Because, guys, we are about to get into the first solo Sony Spider Man MCU movie. Um, by the way, yes, in Volume 2, the second act with the Yondu escape and the Ravagers, that ending, that was so. I just talked about at the beginning of the show. I was crying. I recently watched it back, just the Ravager funeral and the whole, he was one of us after all. Like Sylvester Stallone, Michelle Yeoh, Ving Rhames, and it's just, and you could tell that's the moment where Gamora's like, "I love you, Peter Quill." It's this unsaid thing, it's just this unsaid.
And
I'm
then
like,
they had to fucking ruin it later on, and James Gunn had to retroactive everything.
Well, yeah, I know, but the Drax comic relief was on point. He's like, "How long have you been standing there?" Just standing extremely still. Can barely see me move.
I don't know. I like Drax.
I do love Drax. And then Baby Groot, of course, Baby Groot is an awesome part of it. They made a whole mini series.
What that will kill everybody.
Yeah, and that's that ending. It was the moment, dude. The moment I realized they were gonna kill off Yondu. Still, yes, it's a rom-com father-son story. Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, I think, to be honest, the first Guardians and then Volume 2 are still to this day the two best superhero movies James Gunn has made. I don't think Superman comes into that top two yet. They're just better movies, and I'm sure he will make a better DC movie. But I just think the two best James Gunn superhero movies are the first Guardian and the second Guardian movie. So yeah, and Baby Groot was hilarious. And then they had the whole post-credit scene with Baby Groot with the dancing, and then Drax is just sitting there cleaning up his knife, like Batista's just doing his.
I think that was the post-credit scene for the first one, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh, you know what? You might be right.
He was in the.
You might be right. Okay, whatever. It's yes. It was. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
This you're gonna have to use your veto because I ain't budging for mine, so you're gonna use your veto.
I think Man of Steel is the best DCEU film, Dark Elite Eric, but that's alright. We're not talking about that right now. Spider-Man Homecoming, the first Tom Holland Spider-Man solo movie. It was weird because they kind of leaned into some of the unconventional Spider-Man stuff. They're like, we have seen 5 movies where Spider-Man swings through Manhattan because that's what Spider-Man's about. So this time around, we're gonna have Spider-Man swing through the suburbs of New York, and then realize that he can't really swing through the suburbs because there's no buildings to latch onto. But we're gonna have Michael Keaton in there, and Michael Keaton's gonna play Vulture, and he's gonna play the most most menacing version of the Vulture. And then we're gonna have the big twist where Peter's girlfriend's father is freaking Batman.
It's not Liz Allen, it's Liz.
Look, honestly, to me, this movie was average until that twist. And then you see like the whole, you take her and my daughter now, except I'm also gonna kill you. In that car moment, it's some of the most intense. That reveal scene, it is, like Margot said, prime cinema. Like, Michael Keaton was the perfect actor to freaking intimidate Spider-Man. I was like, Batman got the jump on Spider-Man in that scene, and it was epic. The biggest thing for me is still to this day that's, I mean, in hindsight, you want to get more moments with Tony Stark and Spider-Man together, but I thought Tony Stark's shadow loomed so large over Spider-Man in Homecoming that it not only, kind of got in the way of the story at times, it sometimes overshadowed Spider-Man trying to do things because it made him look like, I mean, he's meant to be like a kid, so he's not meant to get everything right, but so I think thematically some of it was well placed, but it does begin the trend of you seeing, like, or of all of us seeing a big Avengers character sort of like coming in and co-starring alongside a way more popular Marvel character in Spider-Man, who is the most popular far and away, eat shit everybody else, devour feculence. The most popular character Marvel has ever created is Spider-Man. You do not need an Avenger to help sell the movie. So Just saying. And I
I'm
don't care
agreeing with
if
you on
that
that.
guy is Iron Man. Still, I think this movie is good. It just wasn't as good as the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It wasn't as good as the Amazing Spider-Man. It wasn't as good as Spider-Man 2. It certainly was not as good as the first Spider-Man. So for me, that automatically means it's the fifth best Spider-Man movie at best ever made. Potentially even lower, because I feel like several of well, two of the not two okay, here's what I'll say. I think of the Tom Holland trilogy of movies, No Way Home was the best one, then Far From Home, and then Homecoming. So in my
Oh
opinion,
yeah.
this movie is not even in the top 5 of Spider-Man live action movies ever. So
Oh
and
yeah.
then if you start adding the Spider-Verse movies, then it might even be at the
Okay.
bottom of the top 10.
I
So
thought I was gonna be on an island with this
yeah.
one, but even Jose agrees with me. I'm sorry, Homecoming is a fucking D for me. I hate this movie. I like for me as a film in and of itself is probably like a C, but like I just hate
The
everything
twist was good.
about this
Yeah.
movie. It's just like yeah, sure, Michael Keaton's fine, but like for me, he doesn't save the movie. He saves the movie for other people. He doesn't save the movie. It's just like Michael Keaton being cool. Like, all right, cool, we gotten that before, but it's just like this is not a Spider-Man movie. It's an Iron Man Jr. movie. This is
Right.
like I look at this and I don't see Spider-Man. I see a guy, I see Peter Parker playing dress up as Spider-Man who's really like simping for Senpai Stark. Like that's like literally my friends and I make fun of this movie all the Senpai Stark, please notice me, Senpai Stark. Like Tom Holland, this motherfucker took him 3 movies to convince me that he was Spider-Man. Like, just everything about this movie, it's just wrong to me. Spider-Man is the character that got me into comic book movies. Like, I saw Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 in the theater, and even though I was scared shitless of Spider-Man 2, it was still like the push, uh, in addition to watching like the Keaton Batman movies and the Reeve Superman movies at home, that was the push that got me into like all of this. So it's just like everything about this movie makes me mad. Like it horrendous? No. I mean, technically Spider-Man 3 is probably worse. It's probably on the level of like Spider-Man or Amazing Spider-Man 2, but like
Disagree.
it's just like yeah, you know what? No, yes, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better. No, I can't say that. No, this movie it's just dog shit. Like it's I just I hate everything like what this represents more than what it is. Like what it is, maybe like a 4.5 or a 5. Like, but like it just like it makes me angry just like thinking about it. So with that, I put it in D tier. Like it just makes me mad. I just don't like the movie. I think at the time I thought Tom Holland was horrifically miscast. I thought Aja Butterfield would have been a better Peter Parker, but that's just me. And I just don't like this movie. Like this is the only movie I would strictly put in D tier out of all of these movies for me.
I mean, I would have probably leaned towards C tier. But since we're not doing the comparison thing, I think D tier is okay.
Okay.
MTG's laughing at it. Damn.
So
Buki Woodbine.
I like seeing what? What is Bokeem Woodbine? What? And also fuck Flash Thompson. Oh, we can't make a good bully to beat up Spider-Man. How about suck this dick? Like, all right, if like here's the thing, if they can fucking make a flying like a flying hawk woman in Superman work, you can make a fucking bully beat up Spider-Man work. Like fuck out of here.
I mean, those two movies are 10 years apart, so
nothing against Tony Ravioli, Ravioli.
Ravioli, give me the formioli.
Anyway, Ravioli, isn't that how it? I forget his name, but the guy who plays Flash Thompson in this, nothing against him. He is a good actor. He was great in Grand Budapest Hotel. He is a very good actor. It's just like I hated him, but not in a good way. Like, oh, like you'd love to hate him. No, he's just like you're just like everything. You just suck. You're just a prick, and I fucking hate that about you. But anyway,
damn, the hate just spiraling out of control at this point. All right, okay. D tier. We're moving on to the next one, shall we? Let's
Oh,
get to
that guy. Okay, I know. Yeah, the second shocker after Logan Marshall
yeah.
Green got killed. That's
Yep.
who it was.
Well, John, now we move on to what is for a
Yes.
lot of people the best Thor movie that we have gotten in the MCU. I certainly think this is the best Thor movie that the MCU's. But the first Thor movie is underrated, but I feel like Thor Ragnarok is still very much the best. It combines the best action. It has a certain sense of comic reverence for the character, and this, and in terms of just it forgets for a lot of the movie that this Thor is meant to be like this grounded, more science based, Thor that we got in the first few, phase one, phase two movies. But here we go into a completely over the top Norse mythology. This is a comic book movie. The humor fits well. I think for me, all all the different landscapes that you see, all the different settings, it's wild. You've also got, of course, Kate Blanchett, and you can't really go wrong. I mean, she does a great job as the goddess of death. He's like, and what were you the god of? And he's like, you got the whole Anthony Hopkins. I think I was kind of like, it's not entirely on board with the idea that Odin's son, or Odin's son, no, Odin was killed off essentially, like Anthony Hopkins' character. That's one movie after they killed off the Rene Russo's. So that both of the parents are gone, which is, I mean, okay, interesting. It just, to me, it just felt like the way Odin goes out was like the logic just didn't quite fit, because
Right.
it's like did he die of old age? Was it because he was emotionally wrecked because of how Loki? I didn't understand what they were hinting at there, but they didn't really care to explain it too much. Bane will break you thinks this goes below D for some reason. MTG can put it across the spectrum between S and B, but for me, John, this one is easy. I think Thor Ragnarok is one of the few S tier movies that the MCU has produced to date. What do you think?
Here's the thing, Bane. At a point, I would have agreed with you. There was a point where I fucking hated Thor Ragnarok, and I still don't like it. However, um, I still don't like Thor Ragnarok. I hate the humor. I hate the story. I hate like so many things about this movie. However, with what was done with the next movie, that makes this movie look like fucking Citizen Kane by comparison. And we'll get to that when we get to fucking phase 4. And I don't have a lot to say about it, but I have a little bit to say about it. So Thor Ragnarok, it's not good, but I think it's massively overrated. The memes are funny, but like outside of that, I hated Tessa Thompson's character. I hated like Thor was made into a joke. Like the action was okay, I guess. It just like everything like that everyone claims is like the greatest thing ever just falls flat for me so majorly. Now, is it the worst thing ever? No, because Taika Waititi's proved that he could do worse. So because of that, at least it feels like a movie. Like at least it's about something, which is more than you could say for the next one. So like I'll give it that. Like so I'll put it in C tier. I would put it in C tier. Like it's not the worst thing ever. It's not, but it's not good either. It's like I used to hate it. Now I just don't like it. Now I just don't view it as a good movie.
Oh, well, I mean, I agree with Dark Elite Eric there. I think this is S tier movie. Love and Thunder is so far off the mark though, and this was also the last time the Hulk was actually the Savage Hulk. So there's that too. But
Yeah.
like MTG said, there's a lot of fan service in this, but it's good. I also think that the point she made about how they made Thor a bit of a joke. I think they made Thor cool again. They like gave him a haircut. They made him like edgy, and then like the third act, that fight sequence on the Rainbow
They made
Bridge.
him
It's
like the god of thunder can't withstand a lightning bolt to the fucking neck. Are you kidding me? Like they made him into a pussy. Like the fuck you talking about?
well, I mean, it's okay. I see what you mean, but it's like also like they're writing it a certain. It's fine. I just really
Well,
enjoyed
because
the
in the
movie.
comics,
It was
Hela.
very enjoyable.
Well, the thing is, the reason it's the whole thing is like Hela in the comics is the daughter of Loki, but they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do that, so they just made
Right.
her the sibling of Loki. And it's kind of funny how both Loki and Hela are like the supremely goth children, that it makes
Mm-hmm.
Thor the outlier, even though
Yep.
he
Yeah.
was the actual
He was
he was the actual child. It's like, who was adopted?
yeah.
It looks like Thor was adopted.
And
Yeah,
you know what, Vane,
exactly.
you're
That was the
right.
thing I also hated.
There's a lot of dark stuff that happens in this movie, and yet like it feels like the veneer that it has, which is comedic because just the way things play out. But you see the pain and you know Thor's eyes. That Chris Hemsworth does a great job here as the lead. I look, I like I said.
Well, clearly Kevin Feige was sucking somebody off to make everyone believe this was the greatest thing ever. So somebody was getting serviced.
God. I don't know what you're implying there, John, but look, I said this is S tier for me. I know you said it's C tier. So we gotta find a middle ground here. Are we doing A or B? Because I feel like I feel pretty strongly about this as an A. I rate it higher than both of the Avengers movies we're gonna talk about today.
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, since you gave me Doctor Strange in A and Guardians in S, I will give you A for Thor Ragnarok, because like if we were doing this list right after Thor Ragnarok came out, I would be like, no, standing my ground. But I've become more lenient towards it because of kind of what comes after. I will give it A. I will be nice.
Marco's like B, B, B.
But
Give it a B.
I'm voting it below Doctor Strange.
Like if I only had the one A sound effect handy, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Thanos serviced. Apparently, allegedly, I was. I guess.
I mean, I agree, Marcos. I would if we were going middle ground, I would put it. I mean, I put it C, but like if we're middle ground, B.
But
I'm trying to be nice. Okay, I'm trying to.
Yeah, because to me, this was the most enjoyable movie that I saw from the MCU since the first Guardians film. So it was just incredibly watchable, and you guys know how much I value the watchability of a movie. Like just can you watch this movie 3 times in a day and not be tired of it? I think for me, Thor Ragnarok is one of those movies. I enjoy the brand of humor they brought to the table, and some of the CGI was shoddy. Like you could tell, like the stuff in the arena with the Hulk was not as photoreal as I would like for it to be. Yeah,
I will. That's pretty funny.
That was funny. Come on, it was a 2B. I wonder what do you remember what 2B was in the?
No.
Or is 2B like the service, the fast streaming service that has?
You're the one that keeps talking about getting service.
I never said that. They brought it up. It was who said it? MTG said it. Cool.
Anyway.
I'm not. You know what? I was gonna say something, but the brain to mouth barrier kicked in. So we're gonna move on to Black Panther. Let's talk about Chadwick Boseman.
I am not dead that age poorly, but you know.
God,
or Chadwick.
I'm not dead.
All right,
you gotta do it with the accent. Come on.
As you could see. Well, if I do that, I'm gonna be seen as racist.
Yes, you are. I just realized that.
You can do it because you're
I can do it.
So you can be like, it's not as racist. So.
I just look. It's we know this is the movie where even non-MCU fans were like, "Oh my god, this is a great movie." The Wakanda Forever is like
Billy. It got fucking Best Picture nominated, which is like, all right.
I just do. It had the best soundtrack.
Doesn't fucking get nominated, but this fucking shit
that to me. But remember, after the year of the Dark Knight, they expanded the Best Picture category to include up to 10 movies, like doubling it from 5. I think the Dark Knight kind of like crawled so that Black Panther could walk in that sense. Don't hurt yourself, John.
Well, that's not my name, so you know.
Well, I think for me, I agree with MTG. This has to this day, even with the Fantastic Four coming out this year, Michael Giacchino, you did a great job there. I still think that Ludwig Göransson gave us the best soundtrack in the history of the MCU.
Michael Giacchino, I think, is the best and still my favorite of like the modern era. But Ludwig Göransson did do a really good job with this.
And all the Kendrick Lamar, the score was amazing from Ludwig Göransson. The soundtrack was great.
The score got nominated because he didn't win. The first win he got was for Oppenheimer, but I think the Kendrick Lamar song won. Pretty sure.
Yes, you're right. I think so. Yeah.
Because I thought score won for the longest time, but no, it was the song that won.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yep, all the stars. Yep. But I mean, look, all
Also,
around the biggest thing for me was that the CGI in that fight in the train the tunnel thing, that was the worst part of it. But even then, I think if you really understand how VFX work, that was more a compositing issue and the way it was, directed, the art direction more so than the CGI itself. Uh, but I don't want to go too far into that. I just think like the way the movie opens, how they build the world of Wakanda. The thing about the MCU that I've always felt has kind of lacked is they all feel like they're different shades of gray that come from the same pile. And that was almost on purpose because they want these movies to visually look similar. But I think the first time that they truly broke away from that outside of the Guardians movies, which naturally they would because the Guardians movies didn't take place on Earth. So for the first time, a MCU movie that took place on Earth felt like it was different from everything else we had got up until that point. It wasn't distinctly American. It wasn't distinctly in New York City. It was something that was on the Earth side of the MCU and yet completely different. And then we go to was it Korea? They go to South Korea at one point in the movie. They of course explore different parts of Africa. Everything in Wakanda is amazing. The first time Winston Duke comes on screen with they're like the who I just trying to like bully their way in. Just they show you all these different tribes. I think to me the world building was amazing because I look, one thing about the DCEU that you can say is with movies like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, the first one, they created great worlds. Like the worlds of DC were felt fully realized, and I mean I think that's where Zack Snyder made his first big in my opinion his first big mistake by making Gotham and Metropolis like right across the bay from each other. Because I'm like, you want there to be a distinction. You don't want them to be two shades of the same color. But with the MCU, you were kind of getting tired of the whole, okay, New York, New York, New York, California, New York, New York, New York is all, I get it, like it's the same shit. It looks the same color palette. Black Panther was not that. And I just think in every which way, Black Panther is for me is an S tier movie. So, and yeah, I mean Michael B. Jordan too with Killmonger was one of the best movie villains the MCU had to that date because he had an actual motivation. It was a well-rounded character. His villain wasn't like what are the dark elves or whatever they were that Christopher Eccleston played in the second Thor movie. Throwaway characters that you got a lot of mythology for, but then they were written off by the end and you forget that they even exist. Killmonger was one of the more memorable characters, and he was about as well rounded as a lot of the other leads in that movie. So yeah, I mean I think for me
he
this is
definitely
S
came a
tier.
long way since Fantastic Four. So
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a decent movie, but overrated. I think I would vote a B tier. I think B for Black Panther. I think the CGI was horrendous. I think the overall set
The
decoration
CGI
and the
was
setting.
lacking in the third act overall. Yeah.
But like I love how like we have this vast, amazing world, and the three locations we got in Wakanda were the throne room, the cliff, and like one street, and that was it. Like you have this like amazing, big, vast world we barely have seen yet, and we get three locations. Like
Yeah, but I
okay,
mean, it's also the story they're trying to tell. I didn't feel
I
like
get
those were
it, but it's just
limitations for
like I
me.
remember
You
one
know?
scene where they just kept walking around the same street over and over again. I'm like,
Yeah,
do you
the
have more
talking
than a
scenes. Yeah.
street? Do you have more than a street to show us
Well, I mean,
Wakanda?
it's also the practicalities of it. Like these movies, despite the fact that they spend a lot of money on them, it's not infinite, right? Like, so
No, I
I
know.
from a
It's just
production standpoint.
like I wanted more of Wakanda. I feel like this movie should have started where this South Korean fight was with Claw. And I don't think Claw should have been killed off because he's a big villain, and he's like pretty
That was
much.
the most questionable decision I think they made in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, you've fucking got Andy Circus, and you're killing him off. Come on now. But
He was so good. He
I
was
think
so
I'm
good.
kind of iffy on Killmonger because on the one hand, I think Michael B. Jordan did a really good job. I think they did do a lot of good things with that character, but I just hate like the whole like I hate the sympathetic redeeming villain kind of thing, and it kind of started with this even
Well,
before Thanos.
no, not really. I mean, but it's not a sympathetic redeeming villain. I think that's a mischaracterization. Like he was still a bad guy. I just think it's more a matter of like, look, it is
Yeah,
very
but
much
like
true.
he does,
Everybody's the
but
hero of their
he
own story. Like he's still like they
I
made a
still don't like that.
distinction,
I still don't
you know.
like that. I still
Yeah,
don't
but
like
dude,
the
but
hero.
that's how the world works. I feel like that makes a villain like because here's the thing: why do we have two different expectations for our heroes? We want to because here's the thing: you either because I don't think it works. This is a greater philosophical argument about movies and how you write movies, but it doesn't make sense to me if your villains are meant to be these well-rounded characters that felt like real people and not just caricatures that you go and watch and like it's very much a black and white
Yeah,
situation,
obviously, well, like they're characters,
you
but I
know.
don't think I still don't like the idea of hero. I hate the term hero of their own story. I've grown to really disdain that term. They could still be
But
interesting,
why?
well-rounded characters, but
But I'm like
like
that's like, but why? Like because it's about
look
like
at
look at
something
it
like
from their
Walter White.
perspective.
That dude
Yeah.
realized after a certain point he was the villain. Like he knew it and he didn't
Yeah,
care because
well,
he
but
just
that's another
continued with it.
shade of that. I'm just saying, like, but that's different more so than superior to the other interpretation. I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
both can exist.
I still think Killmonger's a good villain. It's just like there are some iffy things that I don't love about it. But I mean, I love the scars. Those are fucking cool.
I mean,
Like
I love the whole because to me, okay, here's the thing. I can talk about this all day because Killmonger for me, look, first of all, it shows you like the whole thing of like he goes to that ancestral plane twice. The second time is very different, and
I
then he
love
gets
you
confronted
wrong.
like with the whole idea of like the concept of you were a good man. It's hard for a good man to be king, like his own father who this whole idea because thematically it's that thing of we hold our parents in the highest of regards. We're growing up as kids, we think our parents are perfect, they can't do anything wrong, and we get to a point in our lives where we start to realize our parents are as human as we are. They also make mistakes. They're not as perfect as we are. They're going through this part of their lives, wherever that is, for the first time, much like we're going through this part of our lives. They're just ahead of us, so they can advise us on where we are because of their experience. But that doesn't mean that they know everything about what's in front of them. So they will make mistakes, and they're not perfect. It's that realization, and then when you tie that into the whole thing of this is a family affair, the whole I'm going to try to make this right. And then the larger perspective on like the fact that there's this incredibly advanced, civilization in Africa where the one part of the world where the black people the community is not oppressed and has the technology and has the standard of living that would be the envy of the world. And what do you do with that power? Do you just do the opposite, the exact same thing that was done to them in other parts of the world, which is the perspective that Killmonger brings in, which is why he's still very much a villain in the end, even though he came at it from the perspective of like because it's that whole Malcolm X versus uh, MLK, a whole perspective. Like it's that thing of like Malcolm X had a very specific approach to civil rights movement, and then Martin Luther King Jr. had a very specific approach. You could see that they were either yin or yang, or at the same, like they were very similar but two different approaches with similar goals, or two completely different philosophies. To mash all of that together, I mean, it's just like it's Ryan Coogler, like literally to this day I feel like thematically from a writing perspective that is his best written movie, and in a lot of ways he hasn't done it better with any of the Creed movies he had. And while he's done amazing work, and I think Sinners is an amazing movie, I think just the way he wrote Black Panther and how it addresses all of these very important subjects, I don't think any MCU movie has risen to that level where it's beyond an MCU movie. You can look at Black Panther as a commentary on society and as and racial justice and civil rights as a whole, beyond just the story that it's telling. There's layers to this. It's not, if you go beyond the superficial, there's a lot more there. And
Yeah.
the small decision we can argue about. That's why I'm just saying this is clearly to me an S tier movie. It's one of the very few that, and that's what makes Phase 3 so peak, is because there's several S tier movies in there. So that's just my
I
opinion though.
still
Yeah.
think it's a B tier. Like I get it. Like
Yeah.
I think also the structure thing that I noticed with a lot of movies. When I was reading before this, before you and I saw the movie, that the not the rough cut, but the director's cut of the movie was 4 hours. The director's cut was
There's a
hours
director's
long.
cut of Black Panther. I didn't even know that was
Yeah,
a
well,
director's cut.
well, the director's cut, and then Kevin Feige's like, "Bro, you gotta slim that down." He's like, "Okay," so he slimmed it down to 2.5,
Yeah,
and
but that happens with a
after,
lot of movies,
of
you
course,
know.
but like usually the director's cut's like 2.5, 3 hours, not 4. But
No, but
watching the movie, I can see Ryan
I
Coogler's
mean,
completed vision was a fucking hell of a lot longer than this, because this was poorly structured and poorly edited, and I could tell like it felt like most of the movie was the first act, and then like in the last third, it felt like acts 2 and 3 like really rushed. That was also the problem I had with Sinners. But Sinners, everything else was so good that it was more of a nitpick. Here, it's more glaringly a, a problem that it just doesn't work. Now, I think the actors are really good. I think the fight scenes, fight choreography is pretty good. Cinematography is good. I just think it's
yeah,
poorly
but
edited,
yeah,
poorly paced, poorly structured, and I just
yeah.
I definitely don't think it's best picture worthy, like nomination or otherwise. I
I
think
think
the
it's
CGI
definitely
is fucking dog shit,
yeah.
and it's just like a very uneven movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's very uneven, and I don't think it's as great as everyone says it is. Sure, it's more than like a superhero movie, but that doesn't automatically make it better,
No,
you
but I
know?
think when we say that,
So,
it's more a matter of like a reflection of the themes that it tackles successfully. That's hard to do, and it's not like a superhero movie can't do it. This is a superhero movie, but I think it goes beyond that too.
oh
And
yeah,
I don't,
Angela
I
Bassett's
dis,
also
yeah, Angela Bassett was. I think she did better work in the second one, but it's still she was a great part of the first one. Um, I mean, I don't think calling that version of the movie what was probably more of a rough cut than a director's cut, because a true director's cut would be like if he actually like got to really. It's not really yeah. Looking at a
well, I
4 hour
mean,
version, they
there's
were never
always a
gonna.
director's cut. It's
Yeah,
just
there was a director's cut, but
depends on
John,
the
there's
studio if they
no.
release that
Yeah,
in
but
theaters.
there is no world like in which you're gonna release a 4 hour movie that's meant to make money commercially. It
No, I
doesn't
know,
matter
of
if it's
course
Marvel, DC. So
but you can
I don't
tell
think
that
it's
things were
it's
missing in this
academic.
movie. That's what I'm saying.
I
You
mean,
could
but
tell things
I
were in
never
there that
felt that.
Ryan
I mean,
Coogler wanted to put into the movie. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but like directors always want to put more. Like that's part of that. I'm just okay. Again, we're coming at it from two different perspectives. But you said it was a B.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
I mean,
decent, but it's overrated.
for me, it's an S tier personally. So settle in the middle, call it A.
Sure.
We average it out. Uh, I knew that one was gonna be
I didn't think that one was going to be that
contentious.
huge, but like,
Um,
but anyway.
Oh, wait, well, we get into the deep. It's just. I think it's more film analysis. Like I think it's also like I said, like getting nominated for Best Picture. It's definitely like the rising tide sort of a thing, and you knew the cultural relevance of the movie. And we have talked about how the Oscars people vote for the Oscars. It's because like, oh yeah, I recognize that movie. Oh, that was really popular. So you could tell how that played into that getting into the Oscars Best Picture that year, whereas The Dark Knight didn't. A few years before then. But also there were twice as many movies that could have been nominated that year in Best Picture. So I think like I said, The Dark Knight crawls so the Black Panther, or like walks so the Black Panther could run. But with that, let's move on to the first of the two Avengers movies, Avengers: Infinity War. Right after
Yes.
Black Panther, they get us into the big one, the first of the two big kahunas. We were all excited to see like what is it like a several dozen Avengers and Guardians and wizards and whatnot all come together for the first time. How is this all going to happen? How do they balance all the characters? Thanos realized proper for the first time in a way that I don't think any CGI character has quite been done with that level of detail. Josh Brolin stepping in, the photorealism, the scale, the animation. I think the VFX. If there were VFX lacking in Black Panther, which I agree with, I certainly don't think the VFX fell short in this
Yeah,
movie.
because they probably gave the effects budget to this movie.
Well, and then some. It also had like the one of the biggest marketing campaigns of all time. So I agree with you, Dark Elite Eric. By the way, on Kugler's. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tough teams make it palatable for the masses. Absolutely. Christopher Nolan does that really well too. But I hear you. All right. Well, S tier already for Hosea. Avengers: Infinity War. John, what do you think about this one?
Massively overrated. I think this movie is fucking boring as fuck, and it's essentially just things happening the movie. It's essentially this entire movie is characters explaining things that are going to happen or have happened. The action sequences are kind of mid. Thanos is nerfed. His plan makes no fucking sense. Like that is the
Well, why doesn't it
same
make sense though? It's he's
because my bro doesn't understand third grade biology, my guy. Like, oh, we so in order to have the stability of the universe, we have to have everything. But then the fucking Russo brother said he also have the resources, which just like makes no fucking sense. Like, here's the
yeah.
thing: I get that they had to change the whole like oh the reason he wanted to sacrifice half the universe in the comics is because he was in love with Lady Death and he wanted to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice death
Mm-hmm.
for her. I get it. You don't want to do I think it's fine. But like if you want to like change that, oh Thanos is a simp, blah blah blah. Okay, fine, you want to change that. But what they change it to
It's all about
literally
balance.
makes no fucking sense if you understand rudimentary biology. Like carrying capacity, exponential growth,
Mm-hmm.
all of that shit
Or just
trumps
physics.
his fucking stupid fucking mission. So, and then I just think it was just overall a very dumb, poorly paced, poorly structured, not terribly interesting movie. I would put it in C tier.
Mm. I think the moments, the fight sequences in this movie were a lot better than the clip show that was most of Avengers Endgame until the final third act fight sequence. This definitely, for the first time since Civil War, which is where we started this tier list, brings actually they don't really cross paths here, but it's sort of you start to see where the relationship between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers is at. For a movie that balances so many different characters in wildly different worlds, like you see the Guardians meet the Avengers, like who is your master? What am I supposed to say? Jesus? So you're from Earth? Yeah. Those are the whole, where's Gamora? I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? It's just the whole we're here to kick names and or take ass and kick names or something like that. It's the whole thing. The Mantis. And just some of the humor hit me. Or like we were using our made up names. Then I'm Spider-Man. It's like great. Okay. It's so yeah, I think for me this movie, Avengers Infinity War, it's I used to put it above Avengers Age of Ultron. I feel like in hindsight Age of Ultron is the better movie. So this for me is probably the third best Avengers movie. Yeah, MTG, by the way, agree with you on how Christopher Nolan attacks tough themes like corrupt. Yeah, exactly. Um, I would put it in. I wanted to put it in A tier, but I feel like B tier is probably more accurate. B tier
Okay.
for me for Infinity War.
I'll settle for B tier.
Where did you put it?
I would put it in C tier.
C tier. Okay, all right. There's a slight
So
bump.
I'll just yeah. Cool.
MTG is like Jesus Christ. John was not kidding in the beginning. He knew this was gonna be contentious.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
Yikes! I mean, hey, if I wasn't here, this shit they'll be looking real empty up there.
I'm glad Liz is not fucking here.
I know. Liz is gonna be turning in her bed watching this later on at some point.
Yeah, she's shit.
It's. I mean, look. It is okay. Look, we didn't even talk about the fact where he's like, "Give or bring me Thanos" with like the what do they call that hammer? The God Hammer or the
Mjolnir?
No, the new one, the
Beta
Stormbreaker.
Ray Bill axe. Yeah, I don't fucking remember.
It's the Stormbreaker. It just I thought this. There are moments in this movie where we're just like, okay, this like gets my blood pumping. So yeah, I just in the moment right now I'm thinking it's B tier. I think I could, depending on the day, raise it to A tier. I don't think it's S tier quite exactly. Because once we were looking, because again, like Black Panther, I feel like Black Panther is a superior movie. Thor is a superior movie. The second Guardians is a superior movie. But yeah, I think the mass. This is where I know you and I kind of like deviate from the masses.
Yeah.
And while I appreciated Infinity War, I think we got it where
I think we
it
might
is for
agree
us.
on this one because Ant-Man and the Wasp is
God.
kind of dog shit. Yeah, it's
Ant-Man
not
and the
really that
Wasp
good.
is D tier, forgettable. I don't know why they ever brought the ghost back. They wasted the talents of Lawrence Fishburne completely. It felt like
I
bringing in the
don't even
Wasp in this
remember most of
movie
this movie.
was
Was this the one with
forced.
Ghost? Was it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Okay.
The
So
whole
that's
quantum tunnel
Uncanny.
thing, you could tell. I mean, it just not like you could tell, but it just felt like in hindsight that they set all that up simply so they can bring it back in for Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Because the rest of the story in this movie, like it just felt like a lot of it was set up, and then introducing the Wasp kind of did not feel very authentic. Like, was there really a need for a Wasp? But it's fine. I mean, get the shuffles, says Bane. Bury this movie. Um,
Um, yeah. It just
it's also
honestly for
like
me, I
it
would
takes
be a little bit nicer.
yeah.
I would be slightly nicer. I don't think it's a D tier. I think it's like C tier because this movie is fully divorced from my kind of hatred of the first one because there's no Edgar Wright like association with this movie. This was entirely Peyton Reed's movie. And the thing is, that's both a good thing and a bad thing. A bad thing because literally all the good things from the first Ant-Man movie, Edgar Wright had something to do with, and everything that sucked, Peyton Reed did. So pretty much everything that sucks in this movie and anything like is Peyton Reed's fault. Like it's just like, and there's more things that suck in this movie because there is no Edgar Wright to like give you some bit of like good action and good character stuff. And so, but it's also a good thing in regards to, well, it's his own movie and, it doesn't have the baggage of like, oh, hey, we got rid of one of the most creative directors in Hollywood working today for the guy who directed Yes Man. Okay, go fuck yourself. So it's
I
like
mean,
kind of like, it's
you could,
it's
yeah.
so I have less of a hatred towards this movie than Ant-Man, but still the first Ant-Man is still better because it does have Edgar Wright stuff a little bit, and it's just like the humor is bad. Well, except
I like Lewis.
ignoring the crew. I was just
Yeah,
gonna say
come
ignoring the
on.
crew. Pretty much Michael Douglas and the crew are pretty much the best parts of
Yes,
this movie.
yes.
And Walton Goggins, who's in it for 2 seconds. But Walton Goggins is usually the best out of anything he's in because it's fucking Walton Goggins.
No,
So,
the 2 seconds that he was in The Dark Knight, was it? Was it?
no, I don't think he was in Dark Knight. David
I'm thinking of
Hasselhoff
somebody
was
else.
in Dark Knight, who was
You're right.
also in this, but
Mm.
yeah, this is kind of just mid. Not like bad, it's just like bland as fuck. Like it's so bland. It's so like
Poopers.
that is a weird fucking comparison. First of all, Mr. Popper's Penguins.
It's an
kinda
enjoyable
goated.
movie.
I enjoyed the fuck out
It's
of
an
it.
enjoyable movie, underrated.
Get out of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, like, are we
It did
forgetting
have a,
about
you know
Michael?
what? Yes.
Motherfucker, are we forgetting about Michael Douglas? Michael Douglas was in this movie, and Michael Douglas
Yes.
is always great. So,
Oh, not only that, but then they also have, Michael Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, yeah.
I like to prefer the Eminem pronunciation, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So Luis, obviously, yeah.
Catwoman.
That was another
Woo.
thing. Luis, would have made that movie better, but instead we got MODOK ass. Okay. And the next
Everything about, dude, I can't wait to like bury Quantumania.
And the next at the time big bad Marvel villain was defeated by ants. You couldn't come back from that. It's kind of good they got rid of Kang, ignoring the Jonathan Major stuff. But so anyway, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I put it in C tier, but I'd be willing to put it in D tier because if you don't like it that much.
I feel pretty strongly this is D tier.
Okay, cool. That's fine. I don't mind.
This is the movie people like forget even existed. Because they were just waiting for like Endgame.
Yeah.
You know? It didn't even have the whole like, oh, go watch this because it has a whole thing that is going to affect Endgame, like Captain Marvel did. Yeah, I know. Well, the marketing at least implied, or the whole post-credits scene implied.
Yes.
And Kevin Feige implied himself. But Captain Marvel is next, and look, this movie is better than I think some people give it credit for. However, it is still very much middle of the road, and certainly nowhere near the best thing that Marvel has put together. No. It was, for all the movies in the MCU that have made $1 billion, I feel like this probably least deserved it. Not saying that in the sense that, I have something out for Brie Larson or anything like that. I just don't think this movie, from a storytelling perspective, from a character development perspective, really, I definitely think it got a big boost as from being like directly from being advertised as having a direct connection to Avengers Endgame, that they probably boosted its final theatrical tally by like a couple of $100 million. Like, this movie could have, at most, because it was peak Marvel at the time, at least in the public eye, in the mainstream eye, it could have made $700-800 million. It instead made $1 billion. But forget the money. I just think this movie felt disjointed. It just was weirdly paced in the beginning. I don't think they executed on the flashback stuff as best as they could. Also, I don't still I still can't tell if Brie Larson was told to act really stoic. But I feel like she could have given the character more life. Even today, I feel like Brie Larson's version of Captain Marvel feels a little lifeless and a little too like,
Yeah.
I'm too good for this
Here's
shit kind of
exactly
thing. And that's
that
not
was
like
the thing.
a reflection of Brie Larson. I'm like, she's an actress doing what she's been asked of her, right? As an actor.
Right.
So I'm not blaming the actors. I just don't understand the characterization of Captain Marvel even today.
I don't either. And here's the problem. Here was the biggest problem with it, because you have Brie Larson being like this really stoic soldier from the beginning, yet the whole movie is like them being like, "Oh, you're too emotional. You're too
Mm-hmm.
emotional."
I
It's
was
like
like, there was no point in the movie
there
where she
was
was
no
ever
point.
too emotional.
No, not even the flashbacks.
Yeah, the
Like,
only time she was slightly more emotional, like the character of Carol Danvers, was when they were like talking to that alien species where their communication method was singing and dancing, and that was because they were singing and dancing. I was like, you let her smile for a bit. Like, that wasn't even this movie, but anyway, I agree with you completely, John.
yeah, it just I
Yeah.
will say I don't have this giant hate boner like a lot of other people did. Other people have. I think there were better actors for the role. I think the people that were on the short list were, I think, Yvonne Strahovski and Natalie Dormer, and I think they would have done a much better job. Um, and I think Brie Larson, she's a very I mean, she's an Academy Award
Is-
winner.
She is.
Um,
It's I
so
don't, again, it's not her acting talent. I just don't
you know who
understand
she
what she was
reminds
being
me
asked
of?
to do.
You know what she reminds me of?
Yeah.
She reminds me of Jennifer Lawrence in the X-Men movies after Days of Future Past.
Yes. It's like she stopped trying. Or
Um,
I just didn't understand what Mystique was doing in those movies. Like, what's her purpose?
exactly. Um, it's just it's just like I don't hate it. I don't have this ongoing like hatred. I watched it and then 2 seconds later I forgot it existed. I don't like how they made the scrolls like the secret good guys, and then they try to do this whole wraparound thing for secret invasion. Well, some are bad, and it
God.
just didn't
Nope.
fucking work.
Nope.
And it just like it was so dumb. And then it was like the whole thing with the scroll war.
Agree with
Um
the MTG, by the way.
um the whole thing with like this the scroll war uh in the comics. I forget what with the something scroll war. I'll look it up. But the Kree scroll war, that was it. The whole basis of that story, the whole basis of why that worked was because both sides were bad. It was showcasing in a very obvious space why war is terrible. There are no good guys in war. It's the most basic thing that war is showcased. And like, I know but like great people can do that very well. Like, like Paths of Glory is a great example. Like, you can do really a basic premise of that and make it really good. And it was good in Marvel Comics, the original comic of the Kree Scroll War. And um so you had that, and then they just fucked it up. Like, and then Brie Larson is just so bland. I think that's piss poor direction. And I think that's which is saying something, because Freaky Tales I heard was like really great, and those are the
Mm-hmm.
same directors. So I don't know, maybe they had the Iron Fist of Marvel, then they gender bent fucking the original Captain Marvel, Walter Lawson, for no reason. And then it just like everything It's just
It
like
just
it felt like with this movie every choice was the wrong one, and we got
Mhm.
a mid movie because of it. And don't get me wrong, some of the CGI was good. Some of the like the I liked some of the costume design stuff. Uh and I liked Monica, not Marie Rambeau, and then all that. So like I like some of that stuff. It's not like I don't think it's like automatic D tier. I don't hate it. It's just forgettable and
it
mid,
just
like a lot of
exactly.
Marvel stuff was.
It just
This feels like a Phase 4 movie in
in
Phase 3
phase 3. Perfectly put. But here the only thing I'll add to that is the worst thing that a movie can do
because of her
is,
powers. Like it was the cosmic cube or something, and she
which
got
was also not very well explained,
it was not very
like
well
at
explained,
all.
and then she just like it was magic
It was
amnesia.
it was explained at the level of the theatrical Justice League mother boxes, basically, where you were like,
Yeah,
I guess it is, magical
it
boxes that do
exists. Sure, like
things. But like, here's the thing: the worst thing that a movie can do is, make you feel like, you could just take everything you just watched completely, throw it out of your brain when you walk out of the movie theater. Because I'm like, when I go to watch a movie, I either want to really love it, I want to hate it, but I want to remember that experience. The only reason why we still remember Captain Marvel is because it came out in phase 3, in between two Avengers movies that were so iconic for many different reasons. If this was a Captain Marvel movie that came out outside of the MCU, people would even forget that it existed.
yeah,
Because I think this was only maybe, I feel like it was a step above Madam Web, and it certainly didn't sink to the lows of Madam Web. Uh, but I don't think it's that far off being put into the same category as Craven, Madam Web, and Morbius. Like it just, there was a lot of things that just didn't work. Like and it just, and then some of the things that worked were just fleeting moments,
and
some small character bits, and it just felt like they were trying to backfill a lot of story for, I don't know, whatever reason, because like Nick Fury's character did not need all that backstory leading up to what happens
no.
in
The
Avengers
last
Endgame.
time
Because
I
I'm
trust
like,
that was the one thing that pissed me off.
yeah.
The last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye, and then it was a fucking alien cat. Are you fucking kidding me right now? And the thing is, I also the fake outs with the ongoing like, oh, when is he gonna lose
Mm-hmm.
his eye? Oh, I got dirt in my eye.
Mm-hmm.
That was stupid. I hated that. That was the one thing I majorly hated.
Grasping at straws in terms of some of those things. It's just, if you don't get a good story for that, then just leave it alone. Like, let
Yep.
somebody else tackle it down the road. Like,
Anyway,
it doesn't need to be
I'm getting
addressed.
tired. Let's rank this D or C.
D,
Okay, I'll
easy
put it
D.
in D for you.
I
I'll
mean,
put it in. I would have put it in like C, but like
I just, like you said, I think it's forgettable. Like, the worst thing a movie can do is just not leave an impression on you, and I feel like this one didn't. Like, the only reason why we remember half of it is because, like, like, oh yeah, it was Avengers, and we just remember. I think most people like to remember this, unless you really love the movie, just because of how much they were disappointed or hurt by like the fact that this was a bait and switch from Avengers Infinity War. Um, great writing, not funny. Okay, all right. Well, with that, John, we have now come to the final movie in Phase 3. Of course, the culmination of the Infinity Saga. Probably for a lot of people today, even the last time Marvel was really, really, really good, or certainly the last time they remember like the good old days of the MCU, Avengers Endgame. It wrapped things up in a bow. For me, ultimately, what drags this movie down is 2/3 of it was a clip show, like akin to a clip show. Like if you were watching, like in back in the day, when TV shows still had 20 episodes a season, they would do like a clip show where you're just sitting and talking about past moments, and then they cut back and show you a scene. Like Friends did it a lot. A lot of other shows did it, and literally that's what this was. And the time travel mechanics were put in place simply
we're
to
stupid.
to show that stuff. And it just, because I'm like, really, this is the way you're gonna go out? Because all of that builds up to the third act, and it's one of those, I totally get the whole idea of, you can have a sucky ass movie, but if you send the crowd home happy, people won't give a shit. And they did that to absolute perfection with
Yep.
the way that whole fight sequence in the third act,
Yep.
the Avengers assemble, and like all of that stuff works really well. It's some of the best stuff Marvel has ever done. It's super CGI heavy, whatever. And it's like it's not the same Thanos, and it's a self of Thanos. It's not the same menacing
That was
Thanos.
like,
He's not the same
don't get me wrong.
well-developed Thanos. He's a very one-dimensional Thanos. I don't give a shit though, because Captain America here's on your left, and then Wakanda, like all of Wakanda is back, and then Spider-Man's come swinging in, and he was like, "You're doing the thing," and it was just like, it
Howard
was
the Duck is
disappearing.
there.
Howard the Duck is there. I'm like, okay, the third act is what redeems this movie. The first two
Yeah.
acts kill this movie. It's just so unbalanced
For
in that way.
me,
Yeah.
I think the first two acts, as you said, are pretty bad. The time travel mechanics are beyond fucking retarded. And I think, yeah, I know, sorry, I used the R word, but like they just are so fucking sorry. I apologize for using the
It's
word.
all good. But
It's so inherently dumb.
it
And but
just it doesn't make
the
sense.
last
Is
hour,
the
the last
the
hour is
movie's
fun.
logic itself contradicts, like their own time travel logic is contradicted several times throughout the movie.
Yep.
To the point where
Like
we
so
all
many
think
plot
that they're
holes.
gonna try to actually fix that in Avengers Doomsday, and that's how it's all connected. But anyway,
Yeah, and I would like to
yeah,
say just something interesting. The only time the Avengers lost is when they didn't have Hawkeye. Just
true.
gonna say that.
I mean, he
Um,
basically held the team together in Age of Ultron, like
um,
clearly.
yeah, I mean, we got a lot of cool moments like, oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, but it's just like I would say the beginning is definitely like that was kind of a good dark moment, where it's like Iron Man and Nebula are in space and it's just the two of them and he's like
Yeah.
slowly dying and he sets that was a good scene. I will say that's a good opening scene. Oh yeah, Captain Karen. Yeah, good times. Fucking
In my head canon, the whole like Captain Marvel hairstyle, the Rocket comment about that, I think is just James Gunn personally inserting that one line of dialogue that Bradley Cooper said for Rocket. He's like, "Are you gonna see you anytime soon?" He's like, "Probably not. What are you gonna do? Like, go get another haircut?" It's like, I'm like, "Yes, Rocket," because that's what we were all thinking about. Because at that point, we had seen her 3 times, and each time she had a different fucking haircut for no fucking reason. And then she comes back in the end of the movie and has another different fucking haircut. I'm like, is that supposed to be showing a passage of time in her life? I'm like, okay, I don't give a shit. I saw her like in whatever real time in the movie was, versus then. Like, you don't need to change the haircut. She's only had one solo movie. She had, by that point, Captain Marvel had more different haircuts than Captain America had, and he had like 5 times as many movie appearances in the MCU by that point. It just
yeah.
felt completely unnecessary. So it was just cheap way to like, oh yeah, because she's been going around the universe and doing all these different things. No, I did not like Captain Marvel's new hairstyle.
And then there was like the cringy scene where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
look at the women take charge. Okay, here's the thing.
That's the Disney thing. Look,
If
here's the thing. I am okay
here's
with
the
it on
thing.
its own.
Here's
It
the thing.
just felt a
In
little
spirit,
forced at the beginning.
in
Yeah.
spirit, it's cute. I get what they were doing. It's
I
nice.
don't know if cute is the
Woman
right
power,
word. I
get it.
think it was well put together.
The
It
was
just
there.
the story logic doesn't, because it's that one moment in the movie where you're like, because they did it in Avengers and Infinity War as well, where I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, this is more an appreciation of like this is not just a boys club, and so in that sense, like from a representation standpoint,
Because
it works.
remember, speaking of the boys, girls get it done.
but like, I mean, for me, the thing was, it's one of those moments where clearly the movie's addressing like, this is a movie, you guys are watching a movie, and this, it's more than just a coincidence. It feels like more than a coincidence that it all ended up. So
Weird.
but yes, exactly, it does kind of kill the momentum for a bit to have these moments. But I mean, Marvel clearly builds these sequences around those moments, like the whole when Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Iron Woman suit, and then they go
Rescue.
around with the rescue with the chest lasers, and they do the whole circular. Clearly, like, this is Marvel like doing the previs work years in advance and then executing it. But yes, I agree with you. Like, it just kind of like ground the momentum of that fight sequence a little bit down before we get to the whole chase the gauntlet to the janky old van kind of situation. Time machine. So
it just overall this movie kind of sucks, but the last hour is fun. So I would put it probably in C tier, maybe B tier if you were willing to put it there.
The men were watching sports in that one. dude,
What
like
are
no,
these
it's not. This
what
is
are these bitches doing? Why are they not in the kitchen? Ah, fuck this. I'm watching football.
it, like because I don't want to come across as misogynistic. Honestly, I don't really mind in either
I
Infinity
don't
War or
really care. In the
Endgame.
end, I don't really give a
It's
shit.
it's just if you're being really critical, yes, it does affect the pacing. Yeah, it doesn't really, it's like okay, great, it's a lot of coincidence, but I'm like, it's a comic book movie. Who gives a shit? Like, I wouldn't say Hosea that this for me is an S tier because I think, look, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself, this is not an S tier movie. If I'm really heavily weighing this movie based on the third act, then sure, it's an S tier movie. I
Exactly.
also think earlier parts of the movie, they were, and I agree with your Dark Elite, Eric, what you were saying, but there were some good moments in other parts of the movie too. The whole, Steve Rogers longing for that life with Peggy Carter when he goes back in time into the Shield base, and then also Tony Stark gets to meet a young Howard Stark right before young Tony's born, and that sequence of like is the only time in the MC where he's handed things, and because it's from his own dad, he's like okay to like not be OCD about it. Like so, there were some good moments in this movie. Also, the whole thing of like when Scott Lang comes back from the quantum realm and he sees like Cassius grown up, and all of a sudden, like as a father, like you're like I lost some of the most important years of my daughter's life because of this. They
And
sort of
then they
move past it really quickly,
and then
but
they
I
fucked it
just
up in a Quantumania.
I don't get it. But like you know what, I don't. I like to imagine Quantumania doesn't exist, but yeah, I mean fan service, yes. Carl Lumley wasn't even in this one, but
No, he was talking. No, he was talking about in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah. They also, and I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier could have gone a lot farther with portraying the veracity of like institutional racism. Like they only grazed it, but that's a whole different story. We'll get to Phase 4 eventually. Um, the great ending, I think, is what redeems it for a lot of people because again, that's what people go back and watch and talk
yeah,
about.
like for
So
instance, a friend of
yeah,
mine. We're gonna get to this later, but No Way
yes,
Home. Whenever he rewatches it, he immediately skips to the bridge scene with Green Goblin because like everything prior to that is cringy crap, and I'm like, but you see Daredevil. So I was like, that's I don't mind that, but it's like kind of like this. It's like you just watch the last hour, like you don't watch the first two
yeah,
thirds. You watch it like
yeah,
you just want to see the
yeah,
Avengers fight Thanos, even though, as you
yeah.
said, this Thanos, I don't even know who you are. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's a problematic thing with your
That's the thing,
writing.
because
It's a
it's
funny
not even this.
meme, but
It's not even the same Thanos. He is
yeah,
not even the same Thanos. Because here's the thing: the whole point of Infinity War was that Thanos suffered loss. He had to kill Gamora, who he genuinely loved as his daughter, even though she wasn't really. He also like really believed. He made you believe that he believed in his mission, no matter what the physics or biology of all of that, how that works or not. And he went to the point where literally he made it his life's purpose, and at the end of it he was a broken man because he had to destroy it with his own hand. He was basically one-handed, so when they killed the man, he's just it's I think it's kind of like the movie starts off with like, hey, yeah, we finally defeated Thanos. Oh yes, the one-eyed Thanos with a peg leg who's retired at 89 years old Thanos. And then the Thanos they ultimately defeat is like from 2 years ago
there's no
when
connection.
there's no
There's no
connection.
connection.
I'm like, he might as well could have been battling some random dude of
It
heroes like
it would be
on Nova
like
Prime or something. I don't know.
it would be like it would be like if like in the opening minutes, not the opening minutes, but like when
Yeah,
Iron Man in the first Iron Man gets back and he realizes Obadiah Stane is the villain, and then he kills Obadiah Stane, and then his son is the villain for the rest of the movie, and you're like, why do we care?
why do we care?
Like it just doesn't make
My
sense,
beef
you
is
know?
not with you; it was with your father. And then it's that whole thing of like, yeah, well, the analogy doesn't go very much further than that, but yes,
But it's just like
um,
it you don't
I hear
care.
you. No,
Like
no,
you don't
it's
care.
just not the same thing. It's not the same thing because even the whole mechanics of it don't make sense. Because it's like, wait, but how does time travel work? So is it the Back to the Future version? So this Thanos' future is the same as your future, but then the whole Bruce Banner explains it as like,
But then he
if you go to your
disappears, and then how does
past,
that work? And
but
it's
I'm
like,
like, because if you go to the
oh dear,
past,
I've
then
come
that's no
across
longer that's now your future. So I'm like, okay,
oh
so you're doing
dear.
the whole multiverse timeline thing, and or the it's all happened before, it's all gonna happen again, or no, or like a closed loop time travel. There's like the mechanics don't make any sense. But the point of this movie seems to
It's too
be,
cross-eyed.
don't think about it too hard. And when you guys say this was fan service done to perfection, I think literally it was, but it was not in in the traditional sense of we want to show them what the people want to see. It was fan service done to
Because they
perfection in
had
the
nothing
sense.
else. They had nothing
Yeah,
else.
they had nothing else, and I'm getting the feeling that Doomsday and Secret Wars might be doing something similar.
Yeah.
But it's also like this
But I
fan
don't.
service here.
Here's the thing. But they also, at the same time, with Avengers Endgame, they had Phase 3, which, even though I don't
Mhm.
agree with it, Phase 3, you had people, your Black Panther, Guardians 2, like all these fucking movies that a lot of people loved, as well as the goodwill from Phase 1 and Phase 2. Sure, you had some stinkers in there, but for the most part, you had great shit that led up to Endgame. What
Mhm.
do you have with the lead up to Doomsday? Jack fucking shit and Jack left town. That doesn't Jack and shit and Jack left town. Yes, I fucked up the quote, but that's okay. I still love Army of
And
Darkness.
Deadpool and
But
Wolverine, who made 1.3 billion dollars together.
yes, exactly. So yeah, I mean, sure, you have some, like, you have Guardians
But
3, you have Deadpool and Wolverine, you have Wakanda Forever, kind of, sort of, and you have like a couple other movies, maybe, but like for the most part,
yeah,
you don't have that. So this is like in the lead up to Phase 6,
yeah.
but the previous 3 phases sucked. Like Phase 4 and Phase 5 and Phase 6. Sorry, not
Well,
Phase 6,
Phase
but
Six
Phase 4 and
hasn't.
Phase 5.
Phase Six just started with
It just
Fantastic
started. So
Four.
Phase 4 and
Yeah,
Phase 5. So, and the thing is, Phase 4 and Phase 5 are not Phase 1 and Phase 2 because
right.
they fucking suck. Sure.
And they had a lot more stuff, and a lot more stuff that not a lot of people, as many people, saw. So
Yeah,
there's also
exactly.
that whole thing of like, what do people like? How much are people caught up? But I mean, that's a different conversation. Getting back to this though, I think ultimately the fan service, and usually fan service is like, oh, you want to show them the
I'm just
moments
saying that
people
the
want to
fan service
see.
that they definitely have planned for Doomsday and Secret Wars
Yeah,
is not going to work like this did.
well, they're
That's what
going
I'm
to
saying.
lean into the whole Fox situation to lean into the X-Men nostalgia too. But like, but the point I was trying to make is the fan service here is not your traditional fan service, which is just give the fans what they want to see. They want to see that cool action sequence. They want to see those. They had callbacks to previous iconic moments in the MCU, but really the key to the fan service in Avengers Endgame was more about just a meta fan service. Like literally, it was just all it was is this big send off of here's all these characters you loved for the last 10 years. Most of these are not going to come back, and the movie was openly acknowledging that in the sense that the characters in the movie didn't know that they were these puppets on strings, but literally everybody else watching the movie knew, and it was like the filmmakers were openly addressing the fact that here you go guys, this is a clip show. Like it was literally a clip show movie with like a great finale. And I love the sequence, the fight sequence at the end. But again, when you break it down into like, that's not the same Thanos. None of his minions were the same minions who fought the Avengers and Avengers Infinity War either. So like, certainly not the same versions. And then the whole
All right.
time travel logic
Yeah,
falls apart.
I agree.
So it's more of a thing of like, Christopher Nolan, this is like when you watch Tenet, just feel the movie more so than like think about the logic. But he says that there because not because the logic doesn't make sense. The logic is there tight in Tenet.
But it's
It's
just
hard to
confusing.
follow. It's hard to
Yeah.
follow because it doesn't intuit for human brains because we just don't work like our brains are not designed to like they haven't evolved to function and perceive time in that way where it's like circular almost and goes in both directions, which physically according to physics, as far
We're
as
at
we
the
know, it
very end,
does.
Yash. We're doing
It does.
Endgame now.
But
Doing Endgame.
but that being said, I think it's the opposite is true for Avengers Endgame. You feel your way through the movie because if you try to make sense of the logic, it quickly falls apart. So great, great
Where
third
would you put
act.
it? Where would you put it? I would put it in C tier, but
I think for me, C tier is accurate. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
so that is our list, ladies and gents, Guardians.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yash. We agree, kind of. But yeah, so Guardians 2, S, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Thor Ragnarok in A, Captain America Civil War in B, as well as Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Endgame is in C, and then Spider-Man, Ant-Man the Wasp, and Captain Marvel are in D tier. So yeah.
All right, let's take a quick look at what you guys voted for in your tier list, which is still available for you to vote on. In with the live, I think we have a link pinned it to the live chat as we usually do. So if you're watching after the fact, you can still click into the live chat replay. And for 1 week, you can see the timer right now. For just under 1 week from when we're doing this live, the tier list will be available for you to vote on. And
Yes.
we'll revisit this for next week's show and to see the final tally. But this is what we've got so far at the end of the show and what you guys voted for over the past hour and a half. John, walk us through
So
it.
so for most people, Endgame was S tier, but one person voted A and one person voted C. That was
Mm-hmm.
me. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, mostly S tier, one in A, one in B. Black Panther, same thing. Avengers Infinity War, mainly S tier, one in B, one in C. Captain America Civil War, three in S, one in A, two in B, and one in C. Spider Man Homecoming, two in A, two in B, one in C, two in D. Doctor Strange, two in A, four in B, and one in C. Ant-Man the Wasp, four in B, two in C, two in D. Thor Ragnarok, pretty much everywhere. Two in S, one in A, one in B, three in C, one in D. Captain Marvel, mostly D tier, but couple in few in C and one in A. And the average vote is much more concise. You have Guardians and Black Panther in S. Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame
I
in
mean, it goes to show
A.
you those two movies definitely get lifted up into the S tier. Like that, that's pretty hard to take Black Panther Guardians 2 out of the top.
Then Captain America: Civil War A, Doctor Strange, Thor, and Spider Man in B, and then Ant Man the Wasp and Captain Marvel in C tier. But yeah,
Awesome. Well, I mean, hey, I think a lot of these are pretty much where people expect them to be. I would expect Thor Ragnarok to be a bit higher personally. Uh, but you know, these are averages, and you guys have about 6.5 days, or a little more than that actually, to keep voting on this, and we'll go
yeah,
through a final
and we'll
tally
put our own
next
list
week.
in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
but yeah,
With that though, before we finish up, I know we pretty much have some of the picks for next week's tier list Tuesday. I know that you guys wanted to have, I think MTG specifically wanted the James Bond option back. We're gonna have Batman actors again because that got the second most votes. Sean, I don't know if you still have the tier list poll from this from this show. Essentially, what got us to MCU Phase 3. So Batman actors and James Bond actors will both be
thanks
back.
MTG.
Uh, sorry, MTG. I think that's a good thing. We don't all
Well,
agree.
the thing is, we couldn't exactly plan for his death, but we could definitely add that to next week.
Yes,
But
I guess that could be another one.
well,
We
the
could
thing is,
do
Robert
that.
Redford has a lot of fucking
It's
movies,
it's a lot of
so
movies. It's a
we
lot.
could pick
He's literally seven
like maybe the
decades.
best from each decade and compare. It's just the thing is with tier lists, it's like most Robert Redford movies are like S and A tier. So like I don't know if
Dude, she's like to be more specific. It's all good. It's all good.
it's just
Um,
like we couldn't exactly plan for his death. We didn't know
yeah.
the man was gonna fucking
It's
die yesterday.
it's
So
just it
you
takes a
know.
long time for us to get all
All
these
right, then what the
everything
fuck are you even
prepped.
talking
So
about, man? Like go
yeah,
fucking watch
it's we
Robert
can't
Redford
tier
movies.
list something that we haven't seen, and he has
Like the
had a
man has
really
like
long
a
career.
lot of credits to his name. You
Yes.
can't do a tier list on that. But I mean, I would love to because I love Robert Redford. The man's tremendous. Um, oh, top three. I didn't in no
Well,
specific order. I would say Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, and
watch Ordinary People. That's what he won his Best Director Oscar for.
yes.
So,
Um,
you can obviously watch The Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier. He was in that. If you haven't already seen it,
what other Robert Redford movies have I there was one more that I really liked, but I'm forgetting the name of it.
I mean, I would recommend go watch his episodes from Alfred Hitchcock Presents or The Twilight Zone. Those
Yeah.
are good ones too. Hey, Yash actually went and saw some Jimmy Stewart movies. Nice.
Oh, The
Nice.
Sting. That was the other one, The Sting. Yeah, I would say watch The Sting, All the President's Men, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in no specific order.
Yeah.
Great. Rear Window is 5. Okay.
I think we already did, no? Like
So Butch Cassidy,
mhm.
gotta watch Butch Cassidy, gotta watch The Sting, you gotta watch All the President's Men.
Ordinary
Um,
People. That's 4.
Ordinary People that for directorial stuff.
Yep.
I would
Best
say
Oscar winning.
I've heard good things about his version of The Great Gatsby. The Natural. Oh no, that's definitely top 3. The Natural, fucking gotta watch The Natural.
All right, there's 6. That's 6 total.
I've heard Sneakers is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. All right. Well,
Also, if you've watched every MCU movie, I sincerely doubt. See that, and you've probably seen Captain America: The Winter Soldier, because that also had Robert Redford.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And he had a brief cameo appearance in Avengers Endgame too. We did one of the time travel sequences.
So I would say,
sorry, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
The Natural, Ordinary People, and I would say
Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid.
he already watched Butch Cassidy. I would. I would say The Sting. I would say The Natural, The Natural, Ordinary People, and The Sting. We'll go watch those. Those are really good. Anyway,
he also directed a movie with Will Smith in the 2000s. I forgot which
Legend of Bagger Vance. I didn't know that was Robert Redford, to be fair. So
you watch that too.
I was
since we are answering questions
earlier. So my top 4 are The Thing, Back to the Future. Hold on, I have my letterbox open.
So John is giving Hosea his top 4.
So my top, I almost forgot one. So The Thing, Back to the Future, Terminator 2, and Paranorman. Those are my top 4.
There you go. All right, awesome. Well, and Yash, don't forget to let us know what you thought about all the Jimmy Stewart movies next time. But
The Natural, God, that's such a good movie. I almost forgot about.
All right, well, but to kind of get back to Tier List Tuesday, next week we're gonna have James Bond actors. We're going to have Batman actors. This is the poll, by the way, so you can pick from those 2. We're going to hold off on MCU Phase 4 for now because I think we need a break. And MCU Phase 4 is a lot more extensive as well, more TV shows.
We're not including TV shows. We'll do that separately.
Well, exactly. But still, I feel like we need a break from because so we'll break it up a little bit. Batman actors, James Bond actors. What else would you like to see? Maybe we can do another DC one in there. We've already done Batman movies, Superman movies. I'm trying to think of what else could we do? All the Jokers, maybe all the Joker actors. We could do a tier list.
Avoid. Okay, so we have 2 actors. Let's avoid actors.
Vertigo's really great, by the way.
Vertigo's really good. Yeah. An underrated one for Jimmy Stewart.
But Harvey. It's like Harvey. It sets the precedent for a lot of
No. I don't think Vertigo is underrated. I would say Harvey is. It's a very silly. It's weird. It's a very weird movie, but it's very good. Harvey. And then once Christmas gets around, watch It's a Wonderful Life. Greatest Christmas movie of all time. Of course.
Isn't The Shop Around the Corner also Jimmy Stewart? Am I thinking of the wrong? The one that Tom Hanks, You've Got Mail was a
Harvey, as in Harvey Dent. Harvey. It's about Jimmy Stewart, and he has an imaginary friend who is a giant invisible rabbit. It's a very weird movie. Harvey. Harvey. Harvey.
Yeah, James Stewart, right? Yeah, there you go. The Shop Around the Corner with Margaret Sullivan. You should watch that. The Shop Around the Corner was remade as You've Got Mail. Same story. So you can see that too. Okay, cool. So you guys let us know. What else would you like to see on the Tier List Tuesday poll? We're going to put up the poll tomorrow, aka later today.
Jimmy Stewart's a legend, man. Jimmy Stewart.
1936 to 91. That he was one of those guys. When he passed away, we would have had the same conversation as we've been having for Robert Redford, one of the icons of Hollywood. So we have some ideas. We've got Batman actors, James Bond actors. I've said it multiple times. We need 2 more. We need 2 more for next week's Tier List Tuesday poll. The poll goes up tomorrow. You guys let us know in the comments down below if you're not watching live. If you are watching live, drop it in the chat. What would you like to see as the topics? And we will make that for Tier List Tuesday. And then you guys get to vote on it. And then we'll take the winning pick. And that will be the Tier List Tuesday next week. Until then, you guys can keep voting on MCU Phase 3 movies. The link is in the live chat. But John, before we finish up, we do have one more poll to talk about, which is Fancast Friday. This Friday, we have 4 options as per usual available, and currently Storm is coming in with the lowest for Fancast Friday, only 10% of the vote. Alfred Pennyworth getting a slightly more 11% of the vote. Then Adam Driver in the DCU, gosh darn it, he just can't catch a break. This is his 3rd week running, coming in second with 24% of the vote. And then Martian Manhunter, it looks like far and away, with more than half, with 55% of the vote, Martian Manhunter, it looks like, is who we will be fan casting this Friday, unless that really swings in a different direction. You guys are welcome to go in it
I
and
already
keep
have
voting.
some choices,
So there you go. Adam Driver as Batman. Well, if he wins, then maybe we can do it. But he's still coming in as the bridesmaid for 3 weeks. 3 weeks running. DC animated shows, John. We could do that. What do you think?
Only problem is I have not completed a single DC animated. I have not seen every single episode of every single show, so I feel like I can't. I have not seen any of the Justice Leagues. I have not. I've only seen the first couple episodes of Superman. I've only seen the first couple episodes of Batman Beyond. I'm not good when it comes to my DC animated show watching. Sorry, I've seen a lot of Batman the animated series, obviously, but that's
a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot more Batman stuff. I've seen the Justice League shows. I haven't seen every single one. I think a lot. It would be hard pressed to find.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, I've seen Static Shock, but there's just so many though. Best villain rogue gallery could be, I don't know, could be a tier list. Could it be a tier list? I feel like we'd have to narrow it down, but like we'd have to narrow that down. But we can't do all of them
or something like that, or maybe pick like 5 to 8.
Yash is writing offensive comments again. That Adam Driver comment is definitely not cool. We're not gonna put that up on screen, Yash, but please do watch what you're saying, because that is definitely offensive. All right, so. All right, well, that's Fancast Friday for you. It looks like Martian Manhunter, we're going to be doing that this Friday, and then for next week, we'll see. Probably Adam Driver will be back in the poll again. So, but until tomorrow, guys, thank you for all your candor. Thank you for the live conversation. And then, of course, thank you for stopping by and checking out the show, whether you're watching live or after the fact. Please do hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. We've got Nimanyu does random things saying, hey, you guys are my favorite YouTubers. Thank you. That is a compliment, and we do not take that lightly. We appreciate you watching. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of DCU Daily. And then we're back on Thursday, and then we're back on Friday with a double back-to-back show with DCU Daily, as well as Fancast Friday, which looks like Martian Manhunter. If you guys have any picks, definitely shoot those our way. John is making a few of his. We'll have the pros and cons and everything else. You know what? That would be awesome, Nimanyu, if you're if that's something that you'd like to do. But hey, we appreciate that we are your inspiration. And then Marco saying thank you for the show, guys. Marco, thank you for watching and interacting with us in the live chat. So with that, John, I hope that the two of us get a little bit of rest before the sun comes up. For Marco, though, the sun's been up for a while. He's in Portugal, so yeah. Have a great day, Marco. And with that, we shall leave you. Until next time, Tier List Tuesday. John, you'll be back later in the week, and I'll be back with y'all on DCU Daily in a matter of hours. So I'll see you then. Until then, John, anything else you'd like to add?
Fuck Jeff Snyder. Can't forget that.
Of course not.